The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 29th December 2020, Center and Middle. Me, Nanha Kei Thata, Mom and Dad. We have already talked about this topic. It has come up several times, but this time, the priest of the pyramid told me something different from what I had in my mind. He sat in front of me, but as if he were also in me, and his words came out of my mouth in silence when I was supposed to respond. He put his hands on my knees. On my left knee he put his right hand, and on my right knee he placed his left hand, leaving my arms like an X, crossing over my plexus. Nanha ska for thatai aterti. Mother contemplates seeking the Father in heaven, she said, making movements with her right hand on her left knee. Thata ska for nanhai tumti, he said, performing the opposite movement, that is, with his left hand on his right knee. The Father contemplates looking for Mother on earth. Chiti omul inukai. And in the center, they are towards the search for balance. He raised his hands and joined them in the center at eye level. He showed me the earth in the fetal position, or in the defense posture, when we are afraid, in which we put our arms around our legs, bringing our knees to the chest and placing the chin between both knees. Then I saw both knees on the ground, above the organs, the kidneys, the pancreas, the adrenals, above the two lungs, Congo and Amazon. There they were, the left knee in the Middle East, and the right knee in Central America. I am. Mother and Father. Me. Yes, the history of our family tree. I had always written that the Middle East was one of the kidneys, and adrenal, and that Central America represents the mouth and its teeth. I am. And that's right, only in front of them are the knees of this terrestrial person in a position of Andean mummification. Let's start with the teeth. Me. Central America. I am. The Central American plate was not part of Pangaea as we see it today. All this plate was under Pantalasa and moved eastward like a train of volcanoes ready to cross the territory of the great continent. Today you can see this same movement in the Hawaii Ridge or chain and the Emperor Sea Range, which are born from the Kamchatka Peninsula and find their locomotive on the Big Island of Hawaii. Central America is this plate that dragged the small California plate south, creating the San Andreas Fault and the California Peninsula. To the southeast, as South America and North America began to separate from Africa, the chain of volcanoes penetrated, breaking through, and pushed the inner lands in a marine ridge towards the coasts of Africa, creating the Caribbean plate. Towards South America, the plate pushed the Andes in formation, creating the Sierras of Colombia to the Guajira, pushing the mountains of the entire Venezuelan coast. To the north, from Jalisco to Belize, passing through Michoacán, Federal District, Puebla, and creating the Sierra Madres del Sur and Chiapas, entering the sea towards Cuba. As they moved away from Africa, the Antilles began to rise, and pressure from the two Americas dragged this central plate with them back westward, raising the Central American mountain range. Thus, the current southern territories of Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama became the bridge between the Americas, while the Antilles, from Cuba to Aruba, became the bridge of the Caribbean. The Caribbean islands and the volcanoes of Central America are the teeth of the earth. This implies that the Caribbean territory is geographically a kind of terrain from which a dental biodecoding of the whole world can be carried out. Me. And in fact, it was the first place where many races came because of colonialism through slaves. The first interactions between settlers and colonizers. The first confrontations with Mesoamerican civilizations. The first intercultural contacts. I am. And not only since 1492, when European explorers touched the Caribbean, but these lands have always been exchangeable. Since the first settlers of America set foot on these continents, Central America became the meeting point of the peoples of the South and North. Me, where the eagle and the condor meet. I am. That site is the third eye of the Americas, Lake Cocibolca, Nicaragua. The two eyes of the Americas, that is, the vision of both continents, is focused between the Salt Lake in Utah and Titicaca in Bolivia, Peru. So the central vision is the Great Lake of Nicaragua. As in the north you find the sacred island of Antelope, and in the south the sacred island of the Sun, in the center you find the sacred island of Ometepe. Beyond the fact that the meeting places between the peoples were diverse, the eagle of the north and the condor of the south found their center of debate for special moments in Central America near Nicaragua under the energy of the Quetzal. Me. Today's being spoke of the prophecy of the condor and the eagle. What does this imply? I am. That the ancestors must be gathered by the new. Return to the center, the two visions of north and south united in a third vision. And that place is Central America. A new consciousness cannot be shaped if the new do not listen to the ancestors, and if the ancestors do not trust the new ones. The constellation of families must be carried out, in which all can be represented. And at that time, all visions will again be one. Me. A kind of United Nations-style meeting. I am. But without nations, only ethnicities, races, humans. While this region connects the people of the North and the South, the Middle East connects the West and the East. Me. Complicated place to join. I am. But nevertheless, it is what the whole history has been dedicated to. At the same time as the Americas shifted westward and the Caribbean plate began to take shape, Africa pressed eastward all the islands and archipelagos of the Tethys Sea. The continent of Laurasia was beginning to descend from the North Pole, and this began to trap the islands in land markets that collapsed from each other. Anatolia, Caucasus, Armenian highlands, Zagros Mountains, Elburz Mountains, Sinai, and the Hejaz Azir mountain range shaped the mountains of present-day Turkey, Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Arabia, Jordan, Yemen, and Oman, while enclosing their large and arid deserts. The latter country, Oman, was considered the geographical gateway to the Garden of Eden, the fertile valley of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, today submerged in the Persian Gulf. The portal of creation was known as the Gate of Ahura Mazda, solar divinity, creator father of humanity from the heavens. The Middle East was called Asia Minor, territory through which African humans migrated to the Asian and European continents, and it was there that some of the nomadic tribes met the star gods, the sons of heaven on earth, or, as the Mesopotamians called them, An-Nuna-Ki. Me. They were the ones who modified some humans and created the leap of human evolution by giving them tools to engender civilization. I am. Some protected humans, others used them, but both were the heavenly parents. The Middle East was the point of union between the peoples of the West migrating to the East and the peoples of the East who returned to the West. This territory encompassed the meeting point between heaven and earth, between sunrise and sunset. All sought to conquer these lands, to be close to the gates of heaven. Me. Many teachers and enlightened people of history sought this territory to achieve this transcendence on a planetary level. Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and these because they are the most renowned, but in reality, so many others of diverse traditions. I am. The Middle East is a center of ascension, of energy transformation, and the primary focus is on the Jordan River Basin, from its source between Syria, Lebanon, and Israel, crossing the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea through Palestine, and culminating in the Gulf of Aqaba towards the Red Sea between Israel, Egypt, and Jordan. There is the deepest habitable territory on earth, the depression of the Dead Sea. Therefore, it makes a vortex inward, towards the roots, as well as on its sides, is the ascension. The strength of this territory reminds us that it is a constant producer of energy, and everyone seeks to obtain it. Me. I asked this today. Both Central America and the Middle East have been territories used by empires to obtain wealth, to use them as a means, as a way to reach their objectives. And arriving at the conflicts that these two territories live, I wondered what hidden interests there are. For both in the Americas, the center, and in the Middle East, they are clouded by religion, trafficking, and violence. Also the search for mineral resources, such as oil. The powers of the world maintain instability in these territories in order to obtain greater benefits from them. How do you fix this? I am. You are seeing conflicts with eyes limited to your present. Throughout history, these territories have always been chaotic and conflictive. It has nothing to do with imperialist or colonizing states, or hidden companies and systems of control. This has to do with the territory as a vortex of energy that attracts everything unstable and chaotic because it breaks the structures constantly. Both territories represent the capacity for stability in chaos. Clearly, humanity does not possess this capacity, for it is decentered from its own being. On the one hand, Islam, on the other, Christianity. Both are inflexible, like rocks, difficult to mold, living in territories that demand flexibility. Rigid minds in changing spaces. Doesn't it sound like anywhere in the world? Me. Yes, it's true. Humans in general live their lives asking for change without seeing that change is constant, that the problem is that his mind and idea of what should be does not change. There is no mental transformation. Everyone adheres to his own beliefs. I am. And that's where you find the knees. We must find the flexibility of humanity so that these territories fulfill their real function in balance. You will honor your father and your mother, said the self. Me. Yes. Why does the Middle East represent the mother and Central America represents the father? I am. The Middle East has an ancient tradition of honoring the Creator Mother. It has the ancient culture of matriarchy, coming from the cavernous wombs of women in caves. Life in this territory is expressed through the mother and her muses, but she looks to the heavens, hoping to find the Father, her complement, who descends from the stars, from the sun, and gives her warmth and life. For this reason, the Middle Eastern mother goes out of her way for the father, seeking the idealism of the man, of the macho, which has led her traditions to value the image of the man more than of the woman. Me. And in Central America, it's not far away either. I am. But here the story was different. Before the Christian traditions of the Middle East arrived in the Americas, they all came from shamanic culture. Everyone understood that we were part of the Heavenly Father, that we came from the stars, from the sun, that we were divine beings, and that one day we were sent to earth. Why? Because the Father wanted to fertilize the mother and love her creation. Thus, the peoples of America dedicated their lives and love to the connection with Mother Earth, looking towards nature as a form of divinity, a father in love with a mother. Me. I understand. The Middle East is an earthly mother who seeks her connection in the Father's heavens, and Central America is a heavenly father who recognizes himself as such and who seeks to descend to Mother Earth to create. While in the Middle East one is born of the mother seeking enlightenment and freedom in the cosmos of the Father and his law, in the Americas the laws of the cosmos are understood as the natural, and the earth and nature as the place to play with those laws and learn what she is capable of, being born in the womb, generating life. I am. These two territories have lowered the information of our history. They're the ones who have expanded our family tree, those who have seen the appearance of new races, of the connection between tribes and civilizations, generating the largest crosses of races in history. In these two territories of the world is where we are all family. Me, our ancestors, celestial and earthling. I honor them, my mother and father, the Middle East and Central America, as the trees that sustain my history and connect me in every direction with every human through space and time. I am. I am life, and history is my skin.
Mahasara, Mahasara.